previews, and we're here to preview round 7 of the NRL. Excuse the hype, but this is being filmed 2 hours earlier than we normally do, so my energy levels are peaking. We're still really high up in here, Luke. How you feeling, bros?
Good, mate. How's your long weekend?
I was fucked.
Fucked?
Went to Brizzy Friday night. Wasn't a good Friday. Flight was booked for 7:30. Got delayed every hour up until 11:30. Finally put us on the flight. Sat there for 20 minutes, and then it was cancelled. So a fucking brilliant start to my long weekend. All of this with a 2-year-old child with me. So
what was the airline? I think it's heck will we shout this lovely airline. Jetstar?
Jetstar.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I'm flying with next month to Brisbane. Excited.
Yeah. So it was absolutely brilliant. Put us up in a hotel, which is good after a bit of complaining from my wife. She did a wonderful job. Got us a nice hotel. But the first flight out was like 6 a.m. So we got about 4 hours sleep. All of this with the child. Finally got to Brizzy. Weather conditions are excellent, stress-free. But then I had to come back Monday morning. So how was yours?
Yeah, played a lot of golf. Didn't fly. So it was a golf, Friday, Saturday. Obviously went to the Panthers game Saturday night, which was good. Kicked on. Then Sunday relaxed. Then golf yesterday. So
does your golf game get a little bit more intense with the Masters and shit on? Because I know, like, when I used to get out and about, when Australian Open was on, my tennis was,
it's
hard.
You start.
Yeah,
you are. You're obviously that's why I played 3 times. Masters weekend was on, so yeah, it's a little bit more intense. But the weather was shit though, so I was playing basically muddy, sloppy greens most of the time. But yeah,
should have went to Brizzy, bruv. Weather was great.
I am going there next month for Magic
just
Round.
For golf?
So no, just for Magic Round.
Ooh, I can't believe Magic Round is almost upon us. Shit.
I know. It's actually the next Penrith. Penrith don't have a home game to round 11. In that time, they go to Bathurst and Brisbane. So,
lucky bastards. Well, we're here to talk rugby league. We've got 40 minutes to get this over and done with. Quick recap on last week. I went 2-2. What'd you go? 7-4 last week?
Correct. 7-4.
Man's a winner.
I was looking very good on Saturday. Sunday went to shit, to put it politely. And obviously the Warriors and Para, but was looking very good there. It was even the Broncos Raiders game, which I was fading until you threw out your little cheeky 11 to 20 point bands to get on that and get the win. Because again, leading that game, I was like, nah, Broncos will flog them in. I tipped the Broncos. I thought they'll flog them. And
You're a fool.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah. Look, it had to happen, and it was going to happen.
Where was this the week prior against the Tigers? That's what I wanted. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Right. Nah, we did everything in our power to ensure it didn't happen against the Tigers, and it was always going to be a letdown spot this Canberra game. So that's, I saw it coming, but it hurt. It hurt watching that game in Brisbane, wearing my Broncos colours. Like the whole city was down. Like everyone was flat. It was awful. It was shocking. I was out at Chermside Saturday throughout the day. It was pumping. Broncos apparel everywhere. Like the vibe amongst the place was great. Sunday it was somber as. Weren't happy. But we get another chance this week. Another shit pack we're up against. So we'll see what we can do. Real quick, biggest surprise from last week. What caught your attention?
Cowboys. I know, and everyone knows my stance on the Cowboys this year, but they stooped to a lower level than I thought they would. Like that, as I said, I knew they'd. There we go. Huncho's on the point here. As I said, I haven't picked them all year to make the 8. I thought not a chance, but then I thought an under-depleted, under-strength Dolphins team. Yeah, they were shit. Like they were awful at home as well. Apparently that was the second time they've sold out that ground for a club game. The other one was against you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They haven't that was a sellout, and they still put that performance up. So very happy as the future's better. But yeah, that was the big shock for me. What was yours?
Mine was the Storm. I was spewing. I knew they were going to be up for it. I knew they were going to play well, and I had a couple of things with Storm 1-12. I was like, under Storm 1-12, under Storm. I had it in my mind. Like every bet I could concoct came into Storm, into the unders. It was a great defensive effort by the Storm, but the Roosters were just shit. They were awful. And then Radley and Bin, but the Storm, really good in the last couple of weeks. They're starting to come on strong, which, we're both surprised with the line this week. So let's get straight into what this week is all about, shall we? What do? We're kicking it off with Thursday evening. We see a little bit of Dolphin action here. at Suncorp Stadium. It's the Dolphins versus the Rabbitohs. The line's 11.5. South's a favourite after smacking a depleted Bulldogs outfit last week. For the Dolphins, Jesse Bromwich is back. In other good news, Jared Wallace is out. And Robert Jennings is in because Edric Lee plays one game every 12 weeks. So I think he's a casual employee at the moment, Edric Lee. And for the Rabbits, Alex Johnson, he's been named to come back. And Jai Arrow, he hasn't played for a while. He's playing in the middle, playing at prop with no Totola for the Rabbits. South's heavy favourites here, 11.5. Going into Suncorp. Mate, how do you think this one plays out? You got a bet on this one?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, I bet everything these days. Rabbitohs minus 11.5 for me. It's obviously, if you look at the two teams, obviously Dolphins are overachieved. I write off the fucking Dolphins, and I still will. I still think they'll do shit. But the Rabbitohs, if you look at the games they've played this year, they played Cronulla round 1, Penrith round 2, Roosters round 3, Manly round 4, Melbourne round 5. And they've won 3 games, and that has been against Cronulla, Manly, and then they flogged the Dogs last week. So their 3 losses are Melbourne, Roosters, and Penrith. So they're losing to some, as we can see with Melbourne, beat the Roosters. They're a quality team, and Penrith now are proving that they are the team of last year. So I think we're going to start to see a correction with some of these teams over the next few weeks. We already started to see it last week with the Dogs. Who is this guy? Who's the wobbling jaw?
That's old Sam Rebel. Sammy, big Cowboy supporter.
You're just respecting the boys that beat you last week. That explains it. Yeah, so I've gone the minus 11.5. I think Souths are levels above the Dolphins, and the games they've played against those teams will show it, and that's where we'll start to see the competition thin out a bit. This whole
this one?
Yeah, I do, but I see, for example, the Dolphins are going to be up against a defense that can defend their line, unlike the Cowboys. Sorry, Wobbling Jaw Sports Channel again. Whereas the Dolphins literally have played the last 2 weeks the Dragons and the Cowboys, who are awful defensively. They played the Broncos and only scored 12 points. Newcastle, awful defensively. Canberra, awful defensively. Then round 1 against the Roosters. So this is going to be a big test for them, and I think there'll be points in it for the Rabbitohs, but I can't see the Dolphins scoring many points, which then leads me on to my second bet, and that is Dolphins under 15.5 points.
Oh, you can get them at 16.5 on tab, FYI.
There you go, 16.5. Get them on there if you want, but that's my second.
That's one of the reasons why I like doing this show. You share a bit of insights, a bit of perspective. You make me think about things differently. I was originally leaning Dolphins over 16.5. I didn't. Obviously, we had 3 minutes to put this together. I was leaning Dolphins 16.5 purely because they scored more than that in like 4 of the last 5. Souths have allowed over 16.5 in 4 or 5 games or whatever. I didn't factor in who they were playing against. So just let me jump into my bet slip right now. Click delete. I had this narrative in my head, Dolphins at home, Wayne against his old club. He's going to get the boys up. That could keep it closer. And then I looked at the numbers and I was like, yeah, they could cover 16.5 points. Why the fuck not? But you have a very compelling argument, but I still think that narrative rings true. So I might even maybe look at the Dolphins in the first half, but the line is 5.5. If you're leaning the Dolphins, the 5.5 is not good, and the 11.5 isn't great either. So I think it could be into it, but thanks to your wonderful insight, I've decided to avoid that game. Due to some recent additions to my fantasy team, I do hope that the Hammer plays well. And another call out for you Ray Stone buyers out there. He's starting at prop this week. He's a tackling machine. And I think he's only about 300K. I reckon there's a good one there. If you haven't made your trades, get him in. Get him in. Get Ray Stone in.
One anytime try score a bet, speaking of which, the Hammer is $2.15 on Sportsbet. He has scored every single game this year.
Yeah. But, like you said, they haven't got a strong competition.
They haven't, but the bloke's got 100% strike rate. Like, you're paying him better than 50% odds. Like, there's value there. So, and I think they will score, but yeah. And if there's one thing where the South did get beaten for in their tries, they conceded, was speed. That first try was just literally from the scrum, a turn and burn. So,
yes, yeah, that was too easy, that one. But South could be turning it on. I'm trying not to give them too much credit for the win last week. That Dogs pack was awful. They were missing a whole lot of forwards, and then they steamrolled, and the end of that first half was just stupid. But that's what Souths are capable of doing. So fair play to them. But look, nothing solid from me. But you've got Dolphins unders and Souths to cover.
Correct.
That's 2 of your 75 bets this week.
Yes, it's a fair few, but
and there's probably more to come.
There is more to come. Profit boys. Come on.
All right, let's get into this one. This next one's going to be an absolute cracker. We've got the Sharks versus the Roosters. The Roosters are $1.74 favourites in this one. We're playing this is being played at PointsBet Stadium at 6 p.m. on a Friday. Jesus. A bit early. But anyway, that Friday night's going to be a cracker, full stop. 6 p.m. Friday evening, Wade Graham and Oregon Kaufusi are back. But at the same time, the Sharks lose Toby and Dale Finucane. And for the Roosters, big ins. James Tedesco is back. So Manu back to the centres and Hutchison back to the bench. Matt Lodge, chance to return this week. Roosters' favourite after the shit show last week. Do you see a surprise in the line and the price of these teams?
No, it's pretty much bang on. I haven't gone near that. I've gone the unders again. Under 18.5 Cronulla Sharks points. I know the last 2 weeks, I know the Roosters have been a bit leaky, but that's against Melbourne and Para, who when they can turn it on. But they're actually head-to-head against the Sharks. They've actually gone under that line literally 5 games in a row. Sharks have not scored more than 18 points in the last 5 against the Roosters. So I think it'll be, two coaches, obviously Fitzgibbon, who was under Trent Robinson. So they're obviously going to be very across each other's game plans and styles. And I think this will be a similar type grindy game between the two. So under 18.5 for the Sharks. Again, the Roosters, they get Tedesco back. Is that the big in, you said?
Yep.
So that's going to be huge. So,
yep. I did have a chance to look into this game. Check the weather report. Expected to rain pretty much most of the morning and then through midday. A bit of sun in the afternoon. So it's going to be a bit of shine. The field's going to look a lot like Nico Hines' hair. It's going to be a little bit moist. Interesting to see if Eddie Nico and his ability to put points on the board, because the Sharks they're like the Titans on steroids. Score points but let them in. But I have similar insights. Notice that the Roosters have given it to the Sharks 5 straight games. I'm taking the Roosters to cover in this one. I don't know how much of a factor the weather's going to be. I considered Roosters overs, but ultimately leaning on a big bounce back for the Roosters after the shit show last week. They were very poor against Melbourne. And they're a well-coached team, and I don't think they play that bad 2 weeks in a row. Total points wise, a bit scary. We know Cronulla can put them on, they can let them in. It could be a grind, but looking back into it, the Roosters have covered this line comfortably. I might even have a dabble on the Roosters 13 plus in this one. Teddy back, he fixes up their attack because they just lack some direction. We know that Manu's not fond of passing. He'll run 250 meters, 300 meters, get a couple offloads, but that's as far as his passing goes. So. And hopefully Kiri and Sam Walker keep him nice and straight. And I guess the biggest thing is Victor Radley, provided he doesn't get sin bin. I think they'll be looking pretty good. But I think for the Sharks, their forward pack being weakened, like you do get Wade Graham back and Oregon Kaufusi, but you're losing Finucane and Toby. So they're your hardest workers.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these other guys, they're impact forwards. Royce Hunt's a 20-minute forward. Hamlin Ueli's a 20-minute impact forward. They're not going to be able to they're not going to stick with the Roosters, I don't believe, anyway. So, especially with Matt Lodge coming back. Whoo!
Good point.
Good look at Rooster.
Give me... I'll add in your Roosters cover the line as well in mine.
Yeah. Take that. Roosters cover the line, potentially even 13 plus. Hunter doesn't listen very well, but look, you're all entitled to your own opinions. That's why that chat's there. So, chuck it in there. If I like something that I'll say, I'll post it up. But yeah, look. I think I'd push that line out. What is it? 2.5? 3.5?
2.5, yeah, 2.5.
Oh, mate, I might even just take it to 5.5. Build my own line.
Build your own market.
Yeah, snake a couple points. You know, what would that be? A 210, 220? I'm all about that positive EV, baby.
Minus what do you want? 5.5?
Yeah, what's a 5.5?
Handicap, pick your own line. 5.5, 215.
Woo! Oh, That's what I'm looking at. Let me change
It's jam.
Jam. All right, wonderful. That's going to be an excellent game. I'm pretty keen for that one. Both very good teams, but I really see it going the way to the Roosters. I don't see them shitting the bed 2 weeks in a row. Into your late game on Friday at 8 p.m. It's the Manly Sea Eagles versus the Melbourne Storm. So this has been played out at Four Pines Park. I wonder if the Sea Eagles will be motivated by the cocaine possession charge of the Snake. What are your thoughts on that?
That was just before kickoff, so they wouldn't have known in Penrith. So
Yeah.
I doubt that we didn't get to see the effect of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it provides them a little bit of motivation because
There's nothing like the old boys inspiring the new, you know?
Yeah. Especially someone like Turbo who looked like he needed a bit of a pep in his step.
He really did. Brett Stewart's older than us. Am I right? Like late 30s?
Yes. Yeah,
like
he is. Yeah. The Snake. Yeah.
Yeah. What a snake, you know? I feel pretty old these days, and to walk around with a bag of that, no.
38 for those of you playing at home. Can I say he was caught in Manly, so he's still true to his team. He's loyal.
Yeah, of course. What do we have on the lineups? Ruben Garrick's out. They got some young fella sitting on the wings. Vega. Carl Lawton's out. Oh, geez. This is how you know you're desperate. Aaron Woods might be playing for Manly. And for some reason, right, they've got Sean Kepi listed as 18th man. Surely he's one of the top 4 props that they have on their roster. He's got to be up there. He's good. But look, it's the Seabold effect, mate. He loses his mind after 5 rounds of rugby league. So, and for the Storm, Nick Meaney got a bit of a headache this week, so he won't be in. He's called in sick nice and early to give time to the boys to prepare. Cam Munster playing fullback. None of the lineup changes to Melbourne matter. Cam Munster at fullback. He's going to be running more than he ever has, touching the ball more frequently. He's going to be making less tackles, so he's going to be fresh. He was scintillating last week, and I'm expecting him to shine this week. But look, the line on this one's 4.5. If you did not already know, in favor of the Melbourne Storm. Where have the bookies got this wrong, Luke?
Right there, 4.5 is fucking an insult. That is it's the dumbest thing I've seen today, and I've seen a lot of dumb shit today, believe me. That is by far the dumbest line. I can't wrap my head around why they got on the -4.5. Like, I know Manly did beat them last year, but did they watch Manly against Penrith on the weekend? Turbo looks like he's crippled. They keep playing it down to his injections in his back. He's fine, but he could not move last week. Just look at the benches. Like, again, you've got a guy in a Dragons jersey whose name's Aaron Woods on your bench. Like, that just sums up that fucking team. Versus, like, a Tariq Sims and a Tom Eisenhuth. That's a much more experienced bench. And they're like, Kepi surely shouldn't be the scapegoat for last week against Penrith. So they've gone back-to-back games where they've gone to Golden Point, led in 30-odd against Newcastle, led in 40-odd against Penrith, playing a Melbourne team who's starting to hit their straps. And every time Munster goes to fullback, everyone goes, why doesn't he? He's better at fullback. But I've got him covering comfortably.
He's one of the rare players when you put him out of position where he's actually better.
Yeah.
Like, if you think back, obviously I've got my Broncos hat on all the time, but one player that's always played better out of position is Justin Hodges. When he played fullback, he was killing everyone.
Yeah.
And Cam Munster's that guy. But yeah, look, I'm with you. I'm all over 4.5. I'm going to take Storm 13 plus as well. This is the perfect Storm in terms of form. Manly clearly trending down. They were close against South, but could only manage 2 tries. They've let in a whole lot of tries against Newcastle.
They were gifted a try as well. Remember, Olakau'atu literally was gifted a 4 point.
Yeah. Well, he's not used to the fields yet. Old Lockie.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it got exposed against Penrith last week, and I don't think it gets that much easier this week. They'll probably score more than 12, but Melbourne Storm's attack, they're perfectly capable of dropping 36 to 40 points on these guys with Cam Munster at the back as well. They got Jonah Pezzett at 6, very solid. He played excellent when Jerome Hughes was out, so he's looking good. Olam's starting to find a little bit of form and aggression. Harry Grant, he's doing a wonderful job, and everyone else is just doing what they should be. They're almost 100% healthy, this Melbourne Storm team. So, yeah, I reckon that 4.5's a lock. I do like them to go 13 plus on these wankers as well. As always, love a good comment. Aaron Woods looks like a homeless woman. If he didn't have that strap on his head, we'd see his receding hairline. Pretty accurate. I don't make jokes about people's hairlines anymore. I used to do that a long time ago, and then look what happened. So, but we've said it before that Aaron Woods' best works for Triple M. It's not on a rugby league field anymore. So, if they're that desperate to get him in,
he came out the other day and was saying, "Oh, Penrith have to buy for Dylan Edwards is $1 million player." I'm like, fucking, that's very insightful for a bloke who's won back-to-back comps and a Clive Churchill medal and scored 4 tries. Fucking great insights, brother. Fucking hell.
Well, yeah, if he was off contract and someone else is looking to pick him up, you'd have to offer him close to $1 million. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
But Penrith never will. That's not how it works.
No, because if we could, then we would have kept
worth $1 million.
Yeah.
He's like, Luke Brooks is not worth $1 million, but he still gets paid it. So
correct. Whiten's not worth 1.1 because he kicks it out on the full, but
no. But would you lose Whiten and have an extra 1.1 million in your cap and then pick up more forwards? Like, that's what they'll end up doing. Canberra.
From England as well.
From England. More English boys. All right. You got any other plays on that Storm Manly game?
No, just smash that with everything you've got in your bank account at 7:30 on Friday night. That's all I'll ask you guys to do.
Absolutely smash it. All right, we get into our Slutty Saturday. First game takes us all the way to Mount Smart Stadium Saturday at 3 p.m. It's the New Zealand Warriors versus the North Queensland Cowboys. Your North Queensland Cowboys versus my New Zealand Warriors. For the Warriors, Tamari Mutton and Wade Egan. They're out. I fucking hate it when Wade Egan's out. He's always out for these head knocks.
Head knocks. He's going to be the VC. He's making really strong leadership claims, Wade Egan, but he is part of the concussion 17.
Jeez, but he's so good. But yeah, he's out. Dylan Walker, Freddie Lussick, they get promoted. Tohu Harris is back. DWZ didn't make the squad despite a 4-try fiesta in the New South Wales Cup. And for the Cowboys, Jeremiah Nanai is back from suspension. And Tuolangi's looks like he's back from injury. I personally did not play this game. Both teams seem to be going the wrong direction for me. Cowboys clearly shit showing all over the place. If there was anything, I was leaning Cowboys. Bookies obviously have this as a pick 'em, pretty much. Was leaning towards the Cowboys purely on the revenge factor of it all. They got embarrassed at home by the Warriors. I think they're going to go to NZ looking to turn their season around because it's not looking very good for them at the moment. Plus the key out to the Warriors. I have a bias towards the Warriors anyway, and I look for any reason to back them. But after last week's shit show, I'm a little bit hesitant at the moment. So no, nothing in particular for me, but I am leaning towards the Warriors. What about you? What have you got in this game?
I've stayed away, but I agree. Cowboys should win it. I think the Warriors last week. The Warriors should have been. I don't know. The Warriors for me have been in games, but they're conceding a lot of points at the moment. And I think.
What were you saying like a couple of weeks ago about their defense? Jeez.
Yeah, it was rock solid, and all of a sudden in those two, literally they conceded 16-14 win over They were averaging 13 points conceded a game, and since I said that statement, they've averaged 30 points a game.
Yeah,
32 to be exact. So I don't know if it's like a squad because they're losing a couple players. The depth's been tested, maybe, but I'm fading. They're just conceding way too many soft tries, and the Cowboys again, as I said last week, I thought they should. Those are the games they should win. Again, this is another one of those games. I'm going to say it every week until the Cowboys play a decent team, which they haven't yet, which is fantastic for your missed top 8 bettors like myself. They should be winning these games comfortably because they then play the Knights next week, and then it starts to get tricky with the Cronulla Sharks and the Roosters back-to-back games in Sydney. Like, it's a massive win game for them. If they don't win this game, they could potentially be winning their 1 in their next 4, which basically nearly writes their season off before Origin. So,
yeah,
I'll tip the Cowboys, but I'm avoiding.
Yeah, fade in this game. I do like Cowboys to cover. Probably Cowboys total points over, considering how bad the Warriors have been defensively. But I haven't checked the weather for that game because I chose to avoid it. So let's get into the next one. Your boys, it's the Penrith Panthers versus Newcastle Knights. The line for this one is 15.5 points. Totals, you're looking at 43.5. having a quick squiz at the lineup. This is at McDonald Jones Stadium, by the way, in Newcastle. Jaden Brayley's been injured once again. So Phoenix Crossland steps in. Tyson Gamble's going to be playing in the halves. Panthers unchanged, which is great for those of you who picked up Zach Hosking in your fantasy, like myself. 15.5. Big fucking line here with both two teams trending in a very similar direction. The Knights have been a lot better than you would expect them to be, and the Panthers have really improved, especially in attack. 44 points last week, 53 points against the Raiders. It's an absolutely scary sight. Despite the Knights playing better, they're still giving up a lot of points. So my first lean was Panthers overs, but I don't even know what that is because we started this podcast stream before I could even get to it. But what are your thoughts on this? You're not biased at all. What's your...
No, I'm not. And my Penrith record was pretty good this year, mind you. I've gone Penrith to cover the line. Reason being, they've covered it their last 3 games against Newcastle. 4 of their last 5 to be exact. And
what's with this bloke and you? Huh?
He's chirped. He chirped 1 week in fantasy, and since then he's done dog shit. And now he's the king of chirping.
He sounds like a Tigers supporter, huh? Giving it to you and Ivan.
Yeah, exactly. Move on, bruh. And also because Penrith have pumped on the points last couple of weeks, so their attack is definitely gelling. And then my go-to bet is the unders for the opposition. So Knights under 12.5. Again, Penrith are only conceding 2 tries a game. And I think defensively, Knights are going to have a much tougher game running at Penrith compared to running at the Warriors, Manly, Raiders, Dolphins, and Tigers and Warriors. Like literally, the Knights have probably played the worst defensive teams in the comp. So this is their first game against the top 8 defense. In fact, the back-to-back champions defense. So this will be a big test for them.
Absolutely. I'm with Sweet Huncho on this one. On tab, I've got Penrith over 28.5 points for $1.95. One that I'll be taking. Newcastle leaking points like my dog's asshole. Fucking stinks. But 28.5 Penrith has shown in the last fortnight. 28.5 they could do easily. So I think there's going to be a lot of points hammering down this Newcastle Knights team. But I do hope they stay somewhat competitive because the only good thing about the Knights playing awful and getting pumped is Adam O'Brien, but they're never even close to sacking the bloke anyway. So, I hope they put up some sort of a fight and, hopefully they score at least 18 points, but you wouldn't like that. So
no,
imagine that to be the first team in the comp to score 3 tries against the Panthers. That's a win.
That's a huge win.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago, that would almost get you the win against Penrith. But now Penrith's attack seems to have gelled. All of a sudden, Cleary's woken up.
It's scary.
Dylan Edwards is, team's starting to fire again.
Penrith's next difficult game?
They play the Tigers in Bathurst. That's coming up. It's going to be a very tough game. I think it's you guys again. South. Sorry, it's South next week. Play South again next week. Then Tigers, then the Warriors, then the Roosters, then you guys. We play the Roosters back into you guys. So
yeah, we're gonna be the new Parramatta Eels, mate. Sweep you during the regular season, lose at the end.
Where I think people now, this is what's coming through again for Penrith is the depth, because I know Liam Martin and Garner are named on the extended reserves, but they've been gelling without Liam Martin. So
yeah, they're looking really good.
And sorry, last week no Fisher Harris either. So they're missing their starting prop and their international.
Moses was a freak last week.
Yeah, international front rower and international back rower they're missing, and they're still looking very good. So
arrogance, arrogance from the team, from its fans. Honestly, I'm with Kenty on this one. Arrogant pigs. A lot of you can't even fact check people's speeches. Get the fuck out of here. All right, into your main event for the weekend. Another Queensland derby. It's Gold Coast Titans versus the Brisbane Broncos. The line's 11.5. The Broncos are the favourites here for the Titans. Kieran Foran's back. Don't know whether he'd play the full game or not, but Toby Sexton drops out after fracturing his wrist. And for the Broncos, Flegler, he's got a headache, so he's out this week. Kobe Hetherington has been playing the lower grades for a couple of weeks, so he slots in. Corey Jensen starts in the front row. Other than that, not many other changes. Brisbane shit the bed last week against Canberra. It's a loss that we needed. Needed that loss to turn things around, I think. And for the Titans, got a tight win over the Dragons last week. So a gutsy effort from them. The line is 11.5, 10.5 if you're looking at the tab, 11.5 on Sportsbet. But what are your thoughts? You got many bets on this one?
I actually don't have a bet on this one. This is, again, a head instinctly went Broncos minus 11.5. Just because Titans, again, their form line's very questionable. They beat Melbourne, but they played like the weakest Melbourne team we've seen in a long time. They played the Dragons twice, the Tigers, and the Cowboys, who are awful. So it's hard. But then the Broncos, you look at their form line, and apart from round 1 against Penrith, they've played the Cowboys, the Dragons, the Dolphins, the Tigers, and the Raiders. Again, not the strongest resume apart from Penrith in round 1.
And all of those games in Queensland.
And Penrith round 1, they played Penrith. They haven't since round 2, they've been in Queensland, and they're back in Queensland. So they haven't had the challenge of travelling apart from the Penrith round 1, where I think they caught Penrith at probably the best time to play Penrith, it looks like, at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a bit torn, so I'm staying away from it, because then I looked at their form historically. Actually,
Titans surprise us.
Titans keep it close. In fact, that line, they've only covered, I believe it's maybe, I think once or twice in the last 5, and it was 12 points. It wasn't like they smashed the line. So,
but we were a shit team back then.
Yeah, but still Titans. You can't say the Titans were ever good.
Yeah, they were shit then. We were shit then, but we're better now, and they're still shit.
But after the weekend, do you think? I remember I predicted Broncos 7th, 8th. People have Broncos.
I got them 6th. Yeah.
I think the weekend showed that they aren't going to be the top 4 team that everyone thinks is. There's a good loss to have. Bit of pub talk. Bumped into a guy at the pub before the Panthers game, and he said apparently the Broncos, the players, are a bit of carry on there at the moment. Like, they think they're the bee's knees of the Brisbane.
That's what I've been saying for weeks. These young, overconfident, cocaine-carrying cunts. That's what they are.
That's exactly what they are. So it'll be. I'm just saying. I think they most likely will cover that line, but I'm not confident enough to bet it.
Yeah. Well, the way I see this one going, I can't confidently take them to cover the line either. But what I do foresee in my crystal ball is points. So I think we had a shit show with the ball last week. I think we improve on that. We bounce back. The Titans are a budget Cronulla side, meaning they'll normally leak points, but they're not afraid to put some on. I think the Titans go over their points line, whatever it is, provided it's under 17.5. If you could please look that up for me, sir. But I also think the Broncos cover their points line. The Broncos' points line is 26.5. So
Titans is 16.5.
16. There you go. So I think the Titans cover the 16.5. I think the Broncos cover their 26.5. I think there'll be some tries out at Brizzy. Nice dry track on a Saturday evening. I think there'll be some points. It'll be nice and expansive. There'll be a lot of missed tackles. So Payne Haas will run for 250 meters. Captain for my fantasy this week. But yeah, I'm thinking there's going to be points. Both teams will go over, but me being me, I'm just taking my boys. Over 26.5 in this one. Boom.
Right.
Book it. All right, let's get into our next one. Slutty Sunday. Different Slutty Sunday we have. 2 o'clock game and a 4 o'clock game. So those of you who like watching football in the dark, unlucky for you. First one's the Raiders versus the Dragons. The line 6.5 in this one. The Dragons are the underdogs. Raiders are $1.50 favorites. This is at GIO Stadium. Jack Wyden is back. There's Jordan Rapana, surprisingly not playing after flopping. What are your thoughts on that, by the way? It's made a lot of headlines. A lot of people aren't happy about that.
Yeah, but like what? You don't just ignore it? Did you see the blood coming out? Like a tap. Like, you can't just be like, nah, an accident, because then you'd make the argument for any head high as an accident. Yeah. Like,
but mate, he laid down. If he didn't lay down, he wouldn't get the penalty.
Yeah, but how many times they fall into the head highs? Like, I'm like, it's unlucky, but that's the penalty. Like, and the bloke literally he was literally movie style spurting blood from his head. Like, it was the most fucking it was fucked. Like,
it was pretty bad, and I was surprised they kept showing replays of it.
Yeah, like he was literally sitting up and it was like a tap. And I'm like, he could literally bleed out here and have a hemorrhage in the head. Like someone, It's I was very intoxicated, but I was very like, wow, that's insane. But I don't get the controversy around it. I like he need him in the head.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know he wasn't leading with the knees. He wasn't diving with the knees and that type of bullshit. It was an accident
Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
He shouldn't get a week off for it.
No.
It was put on report, but I think the penalty's fine. Like regardless of what the opposition player does, you can't hit him in the head. The
Yeah.
bloke's ducking and falling all the time, and you can't hit them. And unfortunately, it happened in an instant.
Yeah.
And in that exact scenario, 9 out of 10 fullbacks would dive to the ground. Like,
Yeah. Take the ball to the ground like that. He did. Yeah, it wasn't like he did something abnormal.
no.
So I thought, unlucky, but they were basically it didn't change the result. It wasn't like something directly changed the result. What they were hoping for was play on because he knocked it on because he got knocked out. And they score off that play, which then the flip side happened going, mate, he was fucking kneed in the head. You can't just pick up and score the try.
Even if they didn't call it, right? He gets hit in the head. They didn't see it. He knocks the ball on, and the Broncos score. It gets sent up anyway. It's going to get looked at. You can't hit people in the head. Like it's
There was a game years ago, Penrith versus the Dogs out of Penrith, and Pritchard was playing, and Pritchard nearly killed this winger who'd taken a hit up from his 20-meter line. He slipped, and Pritchard nearly took his head off, and Penrith picked up the ball and scored. It was an accident, and they wound it back. I'm like, that reminded me of the exact same thing. Like, he didn't mean to. It was like this on live. It looked like there was an amazing hit in the world, but he took his head off, basically.
yeah.
The big thing, which Huncho just called out, is the laying down shit. That's the That's like Reynolds did it like 10 minutes earlier. And someone did it in the game earlier in the week where they literally got the penalty and they shot straight back up to their feet.
Oh, it happens all the time.
That shit's the pain for me.
I thought didn't they like put a rule in place for players that lay down, like you got to get off the field? Like or is that only for
no? But that's HIA. So now what they do is they grab the back of the neck or their face. They do like, whereas before they used to like cover up their face like they've been clocked across the head, which looked like concussion. So now they get up, they wince, so they look like they're with it. They're just in pain. Because of their neck or something, or their jaw. They do these ones. It's not again the head; it's their jaw, like they say, but it's still their head. That's how they get around it. Which, it's shit.
Yeah.
Like honestly, if a ref ever did this, if they see he did that, blew the penalty, and if he shot up on his feet, flipped around, up the other way, I would be like, that was the greatest referee I've ever seen. Like just change their mind. Let's get up on your feet. Go, whoop! You got up too quick. Penalty the other way.
Yeah, it would be good. But it's gamesmanship. But this is gamesmanship in a game where the clock doesn't stop.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's a bit filthy in a way that they continue to do it. And look, it makes sense. Fuck. I don't complain if the Broncos are doing it when we're up, trying to burn the clock. Like, it makes sense. But
everyone does it too. So it's not like it's
I don't know what the solution is, but I also don't like it because that last part of the game, especially when teams resort to that, is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then the product itself gets killed. So hopefully they can figure out a solution for it. But let's talk about this game. 6.5 line. Jackie Boy's back. Game's played in Canberra. Dragons are still shit. Ben Hunt's their best player. And Ravalawa was out. What are your thoughts on it? Do you have a play? What's going on here?
I do have a play. I'm going to look up the weather while I look at this up because I have overs. I've got it's currently at 41.5. Reason being is these two teams concede on average 26 points each a game. So they love to concede points. Basically, they can't defend. So I'm expecting, unless the weather is rubbish, which Google will tell me now. Yep, it's shit. There we go. Sunday showers. I'm back at it, though. I'm back in the shit game, shit weather. It's only 0 to 4 millimeters of rain. We'll be fine. I am going the overs in this game.
Whew. Over 41.5, did you get?
Yeah. Last year, just FYI, they both played each other last year in August, and the score was 24-22, which I'm predicting another type of game like this. If you want juicy, do like a same game multi, both teams to score 20, which I will give you now those odds. That will be both teams score 20.
Oh, I'm just guessing. Sorry. I thought you'd look it up.
Keep talking while I find this because I'm not going to find this market, to be fair.
Well, both teams to score 20 on tab is $3.50.
Oh, there you go. George total points.
So see what you get on the old sports bet.
Sports bet. Do you have a play on this game?
Fuck no. I hate both of these teams. I do lean towards Canberra, but at the same time,
375.
375 if you put the same game multi in. Sheesh. It's not bad. You can make it safer and just take Canberra plus 6 over 17.5 and Dragons plus 11.5. Chase those $2 odds, baby. Let's not be greedy now. But no, I'm not touching this game at all. Fuck both of these teams. I can't get a read on either one of them, so I'm steering clear. Thought Canberra 13 plus. Their odds are actually come in a little bit since we started this. Come in 2 cents.
That's because NRL 360 just finished and they've basically sucked Ricky off for an hour. So
right, yeah.
The coaching mastermind on Saturday night's game against you boys. That's basically what they've done.
Oh, Kenty.
Oh, Kent. They didn't do it much yesterday, so tonight I'm assuming so. I don't watch the show, obviously, only when they bag Penrith, which is every day. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the last game. I've got 3 minutes and I've got somewhere else to be. Eels versus Dogs. The line is 7.5. It's at Combank Stadium. Junior Paulo comes back for Parramatta. And for the Bulldogs, Tavita Pangai Jr. is back. Viliami Kikau's back. And Raymond Faitala Mariner also returns. So the Bulldogs get some forwards back. A little bit of juice in there. Up against Parramatta, who, not a convincing win against the West Tigers. What are your thoughts on this? And what are you playing?
This one I've actually stayed away from unless the line, but I have got to play. It's Dogs under 17.5 points. Sorry, over 17.5. Sorry, correction, over 17.5. Para's defense has actually been very average this year. They're drifting in and out of games. In fact, that line has been covered 4 out of the 6 games. The opposition scored more than 17.5 points, so I think they can cover that line. Again, Paris should win, but then I thought they should have won by more against the Tigers yesterday.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, I'm with you. I'm taking the Dogs over 17.5. I was leaning the Dogs plus 7.5, but if Parramatta put it together, there's potential for them to blow it out. They're capable of scoring points. Their defense is a little bit shaky. Dogs get some forwards back, which is good for them. But yeah, 17.5. Fuck, who's not scoring 17.5 against Parramatta? The Tigers can do it. Surely the Dogs can. So
I agree.
The Dogs got absolutely slapped last week, so they got a little bit of redemption to make up. All right, I got 5 bets on this week. That is my last leg. What do I got? Summary: Roosters minus 2.5, Storm minus 4.5, Brisbane over 26.5 points, Panthers over 28.5 points, and the Dogs over 17.5. I'm getting $26 on that multi, but be safe and responsible. Play them as singles, but let's get adventurous with it. How many bets did you end up with today?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a quiet week for me. Only 9.
What?
Yeah, it's a quiet week, but I'll go through them. This isn't in order, obviously, but I got Storm minus 4.5. I got Penrith minus 15.5, under 12.5. Knights total points in that Penrith game, over 17.5 in the Dogs Para game for Dogs, what I just said, under 15.5 Dolphins points, Souths minus 11.5 in that game. Then I got Roosters minus 2.5, Sharks under 18.5, and then over 41.5 Raiders St. George. So it makes that game interesting to watch.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a good one. Just a quick recap on the year so far. Luke's hitting at 56%. He's got the left side of the screen today. He's earned it. I'm at 54%. Absolutely in shambles past couple of weeks, but I'm back. Had an extended layoff over Easter. Didn't gamble for 2 days. So we're back on playing singles. We tore it up in the Parramatta versus Tigers game. So this week I'm coming back for that left-hand spot, looking to sweep these 5 games. Luke, it's been an absolute pleasure. For everyone else, I appreciate you getting involved in the chat. If you're not in the Discord, get amongst it. Get in that Discord. It's fucking a hoot. We'll see you same time next week. Maybe 2 hours later than usual. We shall see. Ciao.
See you guys.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.